everybody, and welcome to the newest episode of Falling Upwards. You know the drill by now. You know what we're talking about. It's all about failure, but the joys of failure, which I know freaks some people out sometimes because that's not something we generally associate with failure. But hey ho, it's always good to try new things. With me is my wonderful, illustrious co-host who is currently wearing a very fetching looking blanket that none of you can see. It is Miss Maddie Armstrong. How are you doing, Maddie?
I'm good. Welcome to the madness.
We've just been talking about what Maddie's been enjoying today. And
Have we?
I almost feel like this is a perfect, your fondant fancies, French fancies. Should we segue straight into mad news so that you can discuss your love for sweet things?
Sure. Okay. Well, my favourite food in the world is Mr. Kipling's French Fancies, and I had 3 of those bad boys today.
Why do you love them so?
They're just the right texture. The pink one's the best flavour. They're like a hug, but in your mouth. Do you know what I mean? It's like just a sensory delight, you know?
So it's like how you feel about French fancies is how I feel about like pasta.
Yeah, well, the pasta is fab too.
Yeah, but I feel like you are the sweet connoisseur between us both.
Oh yeah, I have like the worst palate. We were discussing this when we were hanging out recently, where I have like the taste in food of a 4-year-old, but when it comes to desserts, I can have pretty much every sweet thing on earth. There's like nothing I dislike. So I feel like that compensates.
What are your top 3 desserts of all time?
Oh, that's so hard. Okay, number 1.
Okay.
Double Jersey ice cream from the Lakes, the Lake District in England. It's just a very creamy vanilla, but you specifically get it from the Lake District, and it's very nice, people. It's very, very good. It's not vanilla. It's different.
And then number 2.
I mean, French Fancies are up there. I can't really rank 1 to 3, but top 3, you know? So French Fancies are up there.
Yeah.
And then, okay, this will change.
Okay.
But right now I'm feeling a tiramisu.
Really? You love tiramisu too? I have a lot of my friends that love dessert all adore tiramisu. It's like the one thing they have in common. They just love tiramisu.
All them textures, all them layers.
Really?
It's beautiful. Yeah, why is that surprising, Emma?
I'm not a fan at all. You know what it is?
Really?
I don't like cream.
Why? What did cream ever do to you?
It's not like bad, but it's just, you know when people say they go to a coffee shop, they get a drink with whipped cream on the top. I'm just like, why? Like, I understand visually it looks nice, but like when you eat it, it just tastes of nothing. My brain just like can't handle it.
Not everything is about flavor though. It's about the texture. The cream aids, you know? It's like when you have a roast dinner.
Yeah.
And you have some mash.
Yeah.
That just aids with the rough textures of the crispy potato, you know?
I do.
Am I making sense?
But also...
Do you get me? It's like, would you rather have tea or would you rather have bubble tea? 2 textures.
I would rather have tea.
Are you kidding?
I'm sorry. No, I would rather have tea. I'm sorry. I know what you're going to say. Because I know how much you love bubble tea, but I would rather just have straight tea.
So you only like singular textures, consistent textures. Is that what we've learned?
No, it's just I don't like something that feels
a surprise.
It's like if I feel like a food is, or an element of something in a dish feels like excessive. I can't. Like with the bubble tea, I like tea on its own. What do I need the tapioca for? Like I don't I don't want the
It
tapioca.
enhances the experience.
And that's like the cream. I get like a nice milkshake or something. I don't need the cream on top. The milkshake was enough.
I know everyone listening to this is going to be agreeing with me on the bubble
I
tea
know
debate.
they are. I know they are. Because
You are
it's like
crazy.
I know because I don't have a sweet. I know I don't have a massive sweet tooth. So,
you're the savory to my sweet.
but because I love savory things. Whereas I know you can kind of give or take savory food.
Yeah. No, sometimes I just skip it. Because, if you have a dessert for a meal, that's still the same amount of food. Like
that. No, that's true. That's very true.
Get some citrus fruits in there. That's your vitamin C. What do you need that from elsewhere?
Joining us on the lawn today is the wonderful, eminent. You know him as Jay Kamiraz, but you may also know him as Mr. Fabulous because he is just fabulous. Here to tell you more about everything that he's been through, as well as a very exciting project that he has coming up. It's Jay. Hello.
Woo!
Hello, you guys. How are you?
It's such a joy to have you on here at last.
And thank you for having me.
Not at all. We'll start off with the $1 million question that we always kick off with. What's your favorite failure?
What's my favorite failure?
Mm.
Not taking the risks.
Ooh, can you break down some of those risks for us?
So there isn't really any favorite failures. It's just that for me, if I fear something, then that's something that ultimately leads to a failure because we don't actually convict and we don't actually go ahead and do it. So that's the thing I could probably say is the favorite. It's a difficult one to answer in a way because failure shouldn't really be anybody's favorite. However, it's also something that we learn from and we grow from, isn't it? And without failure, we cannot surmount to being who we are today.
I do agree with you. I think regretting something that you did do, you don't need to regret because it's like that was what you chose at the time and you can just move on. But regretting something that you didn't do, that's so much worse, I think, because that could have been an opportunity you missed, or it could have just been you didn't feel confident enough at the time.
I think what it is the question. It's quite a thought-provoking question as well because you're putting the word favorite in along with the word failure.
That we don't associate with favorite a lot, do we?
And yes, and people don't associate the word favorite and failure together. So there's an irony in that because your failures, if you don't do anything about it, and you do something about it, becomes a success. Then ultimately, it's something that you can rave about, saying it's your favorite. It's it's understanding the whole ideology behind what that means. I don't know if I'm making any sense.
Complete sense.
You are. For some of the audience, they won't know your full story and everything that you've been through to get to this point where you are, getting Pride of Britain, being recognized for so many things. And some of the things that you've dealt with in your life, I think a lot of people would consider failures or things that are quite tough. And for people that don't know your life story, it is such an admirable story.
Thank you. I think what it is as well is I think I ultimately I'm quite deep as well, and also complex may come to a lot of people, but complex is because of the experiences that one goes through. It kind of that you adapt so many skills, life lessons, and it kind of equips you to move forward. But then sometimes when people meet you, they ultimately go for like this whole like, oh, he's been through all these experiences and all these situations, and you get judged for it. When a question like that is presented to me, like you said, Amy, the only way people can understand where I'm coming from and the hesitation behind my answer is because of all the experiences that I have gone through. I still find it hard to equate the word favorite with success. It's one or the other. However, there is a beauty and there's an amalgamation between the two that maybe I'm yet to learn, and maybe I'm see no matter how much you achieve in life, no matter how far you go in life, there's always something that you want to learn, or you want to achieve. So,
Hmm.
I'm quite open in saying that maybe I haven't got to that stage yet where I can call a failure success, because I am too dedicated to making everything a success.
Hmm. Would you be willing to share some of your life story with some of our listeners that won't be familiar with it?
Yeah, of course, yeah. So, for anybody that doesn't know me, my my name is Jay Kamiraz. The name Mr. Fabulous came later on, in my career. I was, ultimately, I'm still a singer. I was signed to the Drifters Management, Faye Treadwell, and I was, very young at the time. I was 17, ready to take flight, and had an album ready to go to America. And unfortunately, you know, I I come from a background, a community now, you know, that did not understand creativity, that did not just did not want the career choices that I was going to make, which was singing. So, cut a long story short, I got attacked by seven Asian men, and I was in hospital fighting for my life. And I had a lot of surgery to get myself back to where I am today. You see all the glitz and you glamour, you see all the, like, the makeup and things that make up a person. But if I had to strip everything back, you get to the crux of who I am. I'm just Jay Kamiraz. Mr. Fabulous came later on. I had to rebuild a lot of my confidence, um, because one thing that I learned in life from a very young age was that perseverance is a good teacher. Perseverance pays off, and that in life you have to be a master of yourself and not be a victim. um, Regardless of all the things that you go through in life. One of my teachers once taught me, and I still remember this, and try and I try and kind of like pass this on to everybody or anybody I meet. And it's motivation brings conviction, and conviction brings movement. And those are the words that have always helped me get through in life. So I still haven't said really what happened. My career ended because of the attack. I couldn't. I didn't have the confidence to sing anymore, and also I was, at the same time of being in hospital, coming out of hospital, having serious things wrong with me. I was disowned by my family, which meant I had to leave home. So I was made homeless. But see, I don't want people to listen to these things and feel sorry for me, because at the end of the day, all those experiences has made me who I am today. And sometimes I even forget the things that I've been through, and um, because you go above and beyond for so many things and so many people, that sometimes it's those people that completely overshadow all the things that you've achieved. Going back to the confidence thing, it took me a long, long time, until I was asked to raise money for people and families of the tsunami. That was back in 2004. And I've always known that music was, a massive part of my life, but I wasn't comfortable singing as a solo because of all the things that happened. I was completely destroyed by what had happened. So I thought the only way that I can still sing and still be involved in music, if I was a choir director and I got other people to sing. And hence I created a choir, called it the Souls of Prophecy, and the next thing you know, we raised thousands, and it turned into this business idea, crazy as it seems. And I went to the Princess Trust, and the next thing you know, the following year I had 180% turnover. The business was doing really well, and I ended up doing that for 16 very long years. Obviously, as you know, Amy, that led me to not only carry an Olympic torch. I won the FSB Enterprise Young Business Award in 2009. Then went on to win a Pride of Britain, and I got to live out a lot of my dreams as a singer, but as a director, because when I'm directing my choir, a lot of people saw the back of it, so they never saw how nervous I was actually. So that's pretty much where I was. And then after 16 years, I made the very big decision to walk away from music and just rebrand as myself as Mr. Fabulous, a you know a at the time it's more of a keynote speaker, somebody that goes around schools, communities, and talks about inclusion by design, not by choice. We are born to be authentic.
What you went through was so horrific. It altered your life so drastically. For all of the suffering that you went through, do you look back now with everything you've achieved and kind of go, okay, that wasn't the path that I would have envisioned and wanted for myself back as a teenager, but wow, look what I've done.
Yeah, to be honest, Amy, I'll be honest. And some people might think I'm crazy, but I don't regret any of the things that happened to me, because I often look at, had my life had gone to America, I was very young, naive, vulnerable, didn't really know much. I could have easily
You would have been a different person.
went down the wrong path. So I really, really do believe that experiences are the things that make you a great teacher and makes you the person who you are. Without the experiences in your life, you can't be anyone. And no matter how painful my experiences or my traumas were, those experiences and those traumas have made me the grounded person I am, and the person I'm still yet to become. I'm learning so much. I'm learning about the people you keep, the company you keep. But I'm very grateful for the people that are around me, like yourselves. I have a wonderful, videographer guy that I work with who's also great editing. His name's Alvaro. So I have some amazing people around me that I'm very grateful, that understand me and that understand my complexities. Because I'm not an easy person to understand. Because quite often when people see me, they can either misdiagnose me for someone who's arrogant, or someone who thinks he's got it all, or sensitive. But the truth of the matter is that I can't help being intuitive, and I can't help seeing people for who they are. And unfortunately, and I'm not afraid to point it out, because at the end of the day, tribes are not meant to be like millions and millions of people. It's okay to have small tribes. And I can honestly say that all my experiences, everything that I've learned, that I would not change a thing.
Wow.
The only thing that I may want to change is the fact that I had to carry a colostomy bag for a year and 6 months. That's the only thing after my attack, because it was very, very hard finding matching shoes and handbags. Right?
I love
I
that.
was trying to be as straight as possible. No, so no, that's the only thing that was the discomfort. However, no, I think it made me more resilient, more determined than ever. And what a lot of people forget that meet me, who try and hurt me, is I've already been hurt. I've already fallen.
Wow.
So just because you're in my life, people are in my life, they think they can hurt me. They can't really, because I've hurt enough already.
Wow.
So whatever they're doing is, it's just like, yeah, but and I have to always remind myself that I've been through the worst already. I was pronounced dead in the hospital.
Oh my
So,
gosh.
so, so for somebody to either sabotage me in business, for somebody to take me for granted, uh, none of these things matter. Though it hurts, it doesn't matter, because I've learned that people, nobody's bad. Some people, we're equipped to do a lot more in our lives, and we're like the rocket ship, and a lot of the people around us are like the boosters. When that rocket ship goes into space, the booster can't handle it, and it will drop off, because the altitude that we are going to, some of the others cannot surmount to. And so they can only aspire to be us, but their aspiration takes a different turn, and they take on the negative, and they take on the nasty, and they take on the green monster. I've learned not to hate and bear grudges, because we've all sometimes been there. It's a case of how we change. It's a case of how we adapt, and I'd like to think that I'm doing everything a good way, a humble way, with humility and integrity intact. But sometimes I get it wrong. I wouldn't like to admit it, but no, I get things wrong, and it's all a case about growing up.
Incredible. can we talk about your project, We Exist, We See You, that you've been helming most admirably? It's going to have another massive screening on the 8th of August. So for everybody listening, you know it now. This is coming up before it, so you know it right now. But Jay, take us through the project, how it came about, what it means to you.
I've just touched on talking about how people don't understand you or misdiagnose you or have a perceived assumption about you. And they could be anything from your closest and your most dearest. I tell everybody, you will have a circle, but they will not always be the same circle that you end up with, because you know a lot of people are going to hurt you along the way. Trust me, I know, and we're all going to experience it. If you are going down the path of you want to succeed, if you're going down the path of you want to achieve things and you want to ascertain things, you are going to face a lot of hardship, and you're going to face a lot of people that are going to want to bring you down. And this is where you've got to have thick skin, and this is where you've got to really like get all your resources together. As much as I've been gone through a lot of hardship and everything, and I've got my life back together, not many people know that I had a breakdown, and I'm quite open to be sharing that, and that was very recent. And the breakdown was because nobody actually saw or understood me. And what I mean by me is, like, I'm always the strong one. I'm always the one who goes out above and beyond for everybody else. But nobody ever picks up the phone to ask me if I'm okay.
Sometimes you just need that, don't you?
Because people just assume that, oh, he's fine, he's okay, he's Mr. Fabulous. No, behind Mr. Fabulous, behind all the glitz and glamour, please remember, people, there is a human being. A human being that's got a lot of vulnerability as well, and we're human, and and all we want in life is somebody to see us, and we want some, and because we want to exist. Hence, the campaign idea came for We Exist, We See You. And I'm from the LGBTQ community. I'm a queer gay man. I have many beautiful allies. I would say the people in my life now are the most beautiful allies who I've ever experienced. Um, and there are others, but they've got a long way to go, and they need a lot of learning. But that's up to them to do it. But the people that I have now in my circles, they're the most beautiful allies anyone could ever ask for, because we lift each other, we celebrate each other, and we learn from each other as well. And the whole idea of this campaign is to give a voice, not only to my community, the LGBTQIA community, but it's also to tell our allies, like my friend, my videographer, we are photography, Alvaro, that we see you too. Quite often, we always put we like to put ourselves on a pedestal, but we got to remember about the people that are helping us along the way. I know the allies that have helped me. So this campaign is a dedication and tribute to the allies. We had our first debut at Piccadilly Lights day before Pride, and very graciously and very kindly, the Piccadilly Lights agreed on allowing me to, take the campaign that we have and change it, just with some tweaks, for International Allyship Day. So you all know that it's coming soon. So I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward for that platform, and we get to celebrate our allies. And here's hoping that it will continue to be something that we do every single year. If we can help each other, if we can like lift each other, celebrate each other, like your podcast here, I'm here, I'm talking about my experiences. If we all help each other, I think this creative world will be such a better place. You know, why do we have to conflict with each other? There is so much out there. We
Yeah.
don't need to compete. We just need to celebrate, and we need to just like watch out for each other, see each other's existence, and every now and then pick up the phone or social media or whatever and say to the people that you see them. That's all. That's all.
What was the response to the first campaign? What's that been like? Have you seen people kind of coming out of the woodwork to talk to you about what you've done there?
Talking about woodworks, yeah, a lot of people have come out of the woodworks. The people that and who didn't believe that I or we could do it,
Mm.
and more fool them, because unfortunately there is no access to us anymore,
Mm. Mm.
because they lost that access, they lost that privilege.
Mm.
And for me now, as selfish as it may sound, it's not selfish, it's called self-full.
Mm.
I want to be walking into doors where people are already talking about us, not us. And that tribe will keep growing, we'll keep moving on, and hopefully we can inspire other people. We can't change the way other people have been, but we can't be around that.
Yeah.
And there is no disrespect to that, but we've learned, we've grown, we've outgrown, and we've moved on. That's all.
Especially coming from a background of color yourself, what message would you want to convey to young kids of color that are part of the LGBTQ community that would look up to people like yourselves as a way to find their identity and to figure out who they are?
My advice would be people may stare. Give them something to stare at.
Wow.
I love that.
Because at the end of the day, don't be afraid to be your authentic self. Don't be afraid to shine. If people are trying to bring you down, or that's only because they aspire to be you. So those people that are bullying you, that make you feel like you are doing something that is wrong, or what you're doing it's girly, it's this. No, it's not. What they're really trying to say is, wow, you are bloody amazing, and I aspire to be like you, but they can't do it because of their pride. So if I knew that, I would love to tell my young self that you had nothing to worry about. Go out there, twirl, be fabulous, and keep surmounting to amazing things.
That's lovely. Well, me and you, we talk about this a lot, but we had a conversation about how, like, one of the biggest roots of hatred in the world, and like all the rubbish that goes on, is literally just goes down to jealousy. You know, if people just minded their own business, if people were just happy in themselves and not insecure, there wouldn't be so much hate, there wouldn't be so much horrible things going on. It's literally just pathetic jealousy, you know?
Unfortunately, I also blame trauma
Mm.
for that as well, because a lot of the reasons why certain things and certain people are the way they are is because of the trauma that they have lived, or that they're either trying to run away from, or don't want to admit or face. And that's what makes people the way they are. You're quite right. Jealousy has to come from somewhere. That's has been instilled in us because of the way maybe we have been treated. But a lot of it goes down to childhood, goes down to upbringing. There's a lot of things that you know now we're learning about, things like cohesive control. Now we're learning about gaslighting. Now we're learning about all these things that mind games, that people are doing because they think they can control you. There is one saying that I'd love you all to remember is, nobody pays to rent space in my head.
I love that.
Right?
Oh, I love
Nobody.
that.
Right? Because at the end of the day, they don't pay our rent, so why should they?
Mm.
And so when anybody tries to give you an opinion that that they know better, or if they want to bring you down, sometimes you have to just remind yourself of that.
Ah, fabulous.
You're a fantastic talker, Jay. Honestly. I love that so much.
Thank you. I just sometimes I am, and sometimes I will. The friends that know me will know me too. I stutter. Sometimes I stutter a lot, but then I have just jumped onto this podcast, and the questions have been asked to me. I've not read anything, but I'm quite happy because when you're comfortable with the people around you, when you're comfortable with just being at peace with yourself, nothing really goes wrong, because everything pans out for you. The universe makes things work for you if you really trust in the process, and you cut out the, let's say, the crap, and and the toxicity. The only person that can do that is you. Ultimately, you are the master of yourselves. You are the master of everything you do. You are the director, the producer, whatever you want to. You are all those things. Because ultimately, who makes those decisions to wake up in the morning and go to sleep in the morning? What to wear? It's you.
We have a little section called The Exchange, where, in the name of promoting joy, we invite all our guests to share with our audience something that they're loving right now, not because it has to earn them money, not because it has to make them look cool, but just because they purely love it. What would you like to contribute to the exchange today? What's giving you joy, Jay?
What's giving me joy is, there's two things actually. It's it's the great people that I have around me now. I've mentioned his name before. I mentioned Alvaro. I mentioned yourself, Amy. I have a beautiful friend, Heather. My beautiful, beautiful, beautiful friend, Pamela. Carol. I have some, not many, but some beautiful, beautiful people in my life, and I can't forget David, of course. Otherwise, he'll kill me. My partner of 20 years. Um, you know, my soulmate. I get emotional when I talk about him. Um, hmm. and so, yeah, that, and also my gardening. I've fallen in love with gardening.
Gardening.
And why gardening? Yeah, because sometimes you have to disassociate yourself from the world, people, and just take yourself back to nature. And I have a little A&E section where I plant, the trees, anything that looks like they need a little bit of nurturing, and to see those plants grow and come back alive and just flourish and bloom is beautiful.
Hmm.
And that ultimately lets me finish this whole thing for you by saying, like with plants, there will come a point in our lives where we're all going to go into a dark place. We're going to feel so down, and we're going to feel like nothing is working out for us, and we give up hope. Can I just remind everybody that darkness is not a bad thing? Basically, it's an opportunity for you to regenerate, reseed, regrow, and come back up in full bloom. That's what you got to remember.
That's beautiful.
Well, see, we usually like to end on a little piece of advice for our listeners. We all give one, and often we go, "Oh, Maddie and I will go first, just in case it gives you time to think." I mean, you've dropped so many
Now, please, I want to hear what you guys. I would like to hear it.
because sometimes it's silly. So, I mean, Maddie, do you want to go first?
I just want to, because he started talking about gardening, and my mum loves gardening. I just want to encourage people to look up my favorite flower, the Mechanopsis or Himalayan blue poppy. It blooms once and then dies, and it's very beautiful. And that's me.
Oh, that's lovely. I'm going to contribute. Aromatherapy works. Use it. Lavender is wonderful if you need to go to sleep. Smell nice things. Sensory joy is important.
Lavender's so good, isn't it?
Yeah. Jay, do you want to add? What's your final sign off?
Well, on that note, I'm going to have to say that superfoods, all your nuts and your berries and your cayman pepper, your mother vinegar, all those things all mixed together into a superfood. Trust me, guys. When they talk about superfoods helping you, helping your brain, and helping you function and live a much more rich and fulfilled life, it's true. Give it a go. Sometimes you'll see how I know from personal experience. A very good friend of mine is dealing with a difficult time at the moment, and it's helped them a great deal. So that would be my parting advice. Go eat your seeds, girls and boys.
Beautiful.
Lovely.
Beautiful. Well, go check out the We Exist, We See You campaign, 8th of August at Mr. Fabulous Official. Make sure that you go and check it out. And thank you so much for coming on the show, Jay.
It's been lovely to meet you.
Thank you, guys. I really do appreciate that. And remember, motivation brings conviction, guys, and conviction brings movement.
Ah,
Such a good talker.
That's it.
fabulous. Thank you so much.
I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Take care, everybody. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.